Paris on Politics from Fox 32 Chicago.
Twas the night before Bearsmas, and all true to home, not a creature was stirring, not even Doug Buffone. Seriously, though, Merry Bearsmas Eve to all who celebrate. On Monday night, we'll have a better idea of what this year's rebooted team looks like on the field, and hopefully it can stay relevant into the cold months of November and December. Will that coincide with a major earth-shaking announcement on a new Arlington Heights stadium? Remember, Bears President Kevin Warren says the goal is to get the earth moving by the end of the year, if and only if they get some legislative help in Springfield this fall, specifically a bill that would allow them to negotiate their future property tax rates before their building even goes up. Could save them tens of millions of dollars, but the team says they have to have that certainty before the backhoes and the shovels can get put into action.
All we need is property tax certainty, and we're not trying to avoid paying taxes. We absolutely will pay taxes, but we want to just have certainty. And what this mega project property tax bill allows you to do is it allows a company like the Bears to negotiate with local taxing authorities, school boards, school districts, to be able to set the certain amount of taxes that should be paid.
Now, if Warren means what he says, the odds of this happening before we ring in the new year, let's just say if you put $10 on it in Vegas, you'll come back a multimillionaire if it actually happens. AK, it's a real long shot. That's because the Bears need a 3/5 majority to get anything passed this fall in the veto session. They haven't even been able to muster a simple majority yet, given that dozens of Chicago-based lawmakers are not too keen on giving the Bears a free pass to leave Soldier Field. Today, Arlington Heights Mayor Jim Tenalia told me he is a huge proponent of this project, but he is a realist.
We don't have a site plan that is been presented that is approvable. We don't know exactly where the stadium is going to end up when it's all said and done, and we don't know about all of the other pieces of the puzzle that will be a part of this development. So it would be hard to say. It would be impossible to have shovels in the ground for foundation work without the approval from our community.
So wait till next year? Well, let's hope the odds of the Bears winning the Super Bowl are a bit better. How about this, Chairman McCaskey? If you do win the Super Bowl, you get your wish list from Springfield. Tax certainty, money for infrastructure, the blessing of Chicago area lawmakers. You want to grease the wheels in the state capitol? Show off the Lombardi Trophy. Not that you need that extra incentive to try and win it all, but there you go. Either way, as a long-suffering fan, I will take a wild card berth and an explosive offense and call it a successful season. The team is just laying the groundwork for sustained future success, whether or not that future is in Arlington Heights or somewhere else. Bear down.
Coming up on Paris on Politics.
Tonight, Trump's Chicago intervention. The latest on what we know from Senator Tammy Duckworth and North Shore Democratic Congressman Brad Schneider. Plus, political truth versus lies. The founder of the website PolitiFact on why politicians lie, how it impacts the country, and some of the biggest whoppers being told today.
This is Paris on Politics from Fox 32 Chicago.
And welcome to Paris on Politics, where we take you behind the spin and beyond the headlines. Another day, another briefing from the governor on what to expect from a stepped-up federal presence in Chicago. The Trump administration has still been unclear whether or not federal guard troops are getting ready to be deployed. But the governor said if they do, the first stop is court.
If National Guard or other military troops are deployed to the city of Chicago, immediately go to court. So that's going to be our first line of defense, is getting a court to issue a TRO or other injunction against that activity.
And joining us now is Illinois Democratic U.S. Senator Tammy Duckworth from the Hill in Washington, D.C. Senator Duckworth, thanks for talking to us. You heard the president say we're going in. Then Vice President J.D. Vance say there's no immediate plans to send in the National Guard. Are you privy to any plans from the Department of Defense one way or another here?
We are not privy to any plans because they are not coordinating with the state of Illinois, either federal officials such as Senator Durbin and myself, or the state officials like the governor. The only coordination that we've received has been notification to the state police that they are sending in an ICE deployment into Chicago. But as far as the National Guard is concerned, they have not bothered to contact us. And if this president truly cares about crime, then they should be coordinating with the people in charge of dealing with crime, which is the Chicago Police Department, and we've not heard a peep from the White House or any of the federal agencies.
But you have heard from state police that a stepped-up ICE enforcement operation is imminent, perhaps this weekend, as the governor said. Is that correct?
Yes.
Let me ask you this. Governor Pritzker's contention is they want to start with that and perhaps target Mexican Independence Day celebrations, which will happen in about 10 or 11 days or so, maybe as pretext to send in the National Guard. Do you have any thoughts on that possibility?
Well, I won't put anything past this president. I mean, he is a convicted felon, and he continues to break the law. He continues to ignore judicial orders. So I don't put it past this president. The fact of the matter is, by sending in National Guardsmen, he will be breaking the law. The National Guard is not, this is not their mission. Their mission is not to patrol the streets of our cities to intimidate fellow citizens on behalf of a wannabe dictator. Their job is to train and fight, our enemies, enemies like Hamas, our enemies like the Houthis. Their job is not to fight people on the streets of Chicago. And frankly, the president is not allowed to activate the National Guard without the governor's consent, which is why he can't activate the Illinois National Guard and is having to rely on governors from red states. What I'm hearing is he's thinking about sending in Texas National Guardsmen. But again, they're not trained to do this job. And frankly, they can't, even if they saw a crime being committed, they don't have the ability to arrest people. It's illegal for National Guardsmen to arrest fellow Americans. And so if Donald Trump truly wanted to fight crime, then he would actually coordinate with Chicago Police Department. And yes, I think that he is trying to find ways to intimidate citizens across the United States. But this is, he's pulling something out of Saddam Hussein and Xi Jinping's playbook, which is to try to intimidate peace-loving citizens and in a way that will try to grow his own power. Look, he does this every time he's got a bad news cycle, right? Every time he messes up, he screws up, he can't get Vladimir Putin to do what he wants Vladimir Putin to do, he does something to distract the American people, like, say, send in the National Guard.
As a combat veteran, how do you think National Guards men and women take to this kind of deployment to Washington, D.C., to Los Angeles, potentially New Orleans and Chicago? Is this something they want to be doing?
Our Guardsmen and women swore an oath to defend this nation. They want to be training for their missions. Remember that Guardsmen are citizen soldiers. They have regular full-time civilian jobs that they should be at. And now the Guardsmen that were, by the way, a judge has just ruled that it was illegal to send the Guardsmen into Los Angeles, for example. They were pulled away from their families. They were pulled away from their jobs. Many of them took a pay cut, are taking a pay cut to do their National Guard duty. They're losing money in order to do this National Guard job. And in D.C., for example, you see what the National Guardsmen in D.C. are doing. They're walking around picking up garbage because there's no mission for them. And so this is really a perversion of the role of the National Guardsmen. What do National Guardsmen and women want to do? Defend America and respond to disasters and emergencies like flooding on the Mississippi. That's what National Guardsmen and women want to do and what they train to do. Intimidating fellow citizens on the streets of Chicago? No, that's not their job.
At the same time, the Labor Day saw reported 8 people shot in Chicago, 8 murdered, 58 shot in Chicago. Although overall crime has been down this year, is this an opportunity for Democrats, for the governor, for you and Senator Durbin to say, okay, President Trump, why don't you spend the money you would have spent on the National Guard on things like ATF agents, prosecutors, more police officers?
Exactly. And by the way, just so you know the numbers, Republicans in the Trump administration have diverted funds that would support law enforcement in Illinois and in Chicago. So, for example, they've diverted $137 million that was supposed to be coming to Illinois for child protection services. They've diverted $158 million from Illinois for violence prevention programs, and another $71 million that was meant to support police department law enforcement grants. They diverted that. If they truly wanted to deal with violence and to cut down violence, then send us the money that Congress appropriated for us. Send us the support, coordinate with local law enforcement, support all of these departments that have seen such significant cuts due to the cuts in federal funding that Republicans rammed through in a partisan manner. Don't send in the National Guard, even if the National Guard can't even arrest people. They can't fire their weapons. So what is the point of sending National Guardsmen in to do a job that they're not trained to do the way police departments are?
Okay, Senator Tammy Duckworth joining us from Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And now joining us is 10th District Democratic Congressman Brad Schneider, whose district on the North Shore does include the Great Lakes Naval Base. Thanks for being here, Congressman.
Thanks for having me.
Fresh off the plane from D.C. So what are you hearing about what exactly is being staged at Great Lakes in your district?
This is one of the problems. We're hearing very little. There's been almost no communication and certainly no clarity on what's happening. It was reported that the Pentagon approved using Naval Station Great Lakes to station both ICE DHS personnel as well as potentially National Guard, but no details, no timing, no specifics. And here's the catch, or the challenge. Naval Station Great Lakes is the largest training base in the U.S. Navy. It is the only base that trains recruits, basic training, taking recruits and teaching them how to be sailors. It is essential for the preparedness of our Navy, for the security of our nation. And anything the administration is doing for political purposes that might undermine that mission threatens the security of the entire country.
Are you worried that that could undermine that mission? It could take up space. It could take up facilities.
I'm very worried. It could take up space. It causes a distraction. Every week there's a graduation. Upwards of 1,000 sailors graduate boot camp. Their families come for that celebration. And from there, those sailors go to their next training school before going out and being deployed around the world. So it is critical that we maintain that pace, that cycle of training every week, bringing in 1,000 sailors every week, graduating 1,000 sailors who have completed the 10-week course, and it goes on for the entire year.
We just spoke with Senator Duckworth, who has talked about how the governor has to call the National Guard. The president can't unilaterally do it. We've covered this extensively here, unless he wants to declare something like the Insurrection Act, although a judge in California basically said no, there was no pretext for the president to call in the National Guard there. But as Democrats, is there some kind of arrangement you can make with the White House to say, in lieu of National Guard, how about more federal agents in ATF and DEA and FBI?
It's a great question. The White House isn't working with Congress at all, let alone working with Democrats in Congress. What I've said very clearly, if the president wants to help address the challenges, not just in Chicago, we're facing across the country, addressing gun violence, he's holding up $158 million of funding that Congress authorized for gun violence reduction programs. Helping keep our communities safe. $800 million for violence prevention in general. We should be surging more resources to local police departments, to helping those police departments hire more personnel, get the training they need to keep our communities safe over the long term. We can invest in the programs that will provide young kids alternatives, keep them off the streets, out of gangs, making our communities more safer. These are the long-term solutions that we should be talking about, that Congress has authorized funds for. Instead, the president is using his platform, using his power or his perceived power to terrorize our communities, to threaten states that he disagrees with. He sees it as a Republican-Democratic divide. It's not. We have Republican Democrats throughout our district. Every one of them deserves to live in a healthy and safe community, and we're working to make sure that they get the care and the support that they need.
And the reports are, and Vice President Vance seemed to indicate that this operation right now is solely focused on ICE agents and immigration. There are a fair number of undocumented immigrants, we presume, in the 10th District. You got areas like Highwood and other areas that have a high population. Do you support more ICE enforcement actions right now?
You know, what the administration is doing is not trying to address an immigration problem. If it was, it would work on passing the immigration reform we've been talking about for decades. It's not trying to address border security. If it was, it'd be working on investing in border security that keeps our borders secure across time, making sure that we have the resources, the agents that we need, that they have the training that they need. We need to know who's coming into the country. But until we fix our immigration system, and the two go hand in glove, we're always going to have challenges with border security. This president has no desire to do that. What Donald Trump and J.D. Vance are trying to do, again, is to create terror, to sow division. We can't let them do it. We are a strong community. The communities across the 10th District in Cook, Lake, and McHenry County, we support each other. We have schools that are trying to educate our kids, preparing them for the 21st century. We're trying to make sure that everyone has access to quality, affordable health care where they live, when they need it, from doctors and nurses that they can trust. Those are the problems people worry about. And the number one problem is that life is just too expensive in this country. The president promised he'd be lowering costs. Everything he's done, from tariffs to other programs, are raising costs. It's getting more expensive, not less expensive. Those are the things that we should be working on. Those are the things that I'll work with anyone. I don't care if they're Democrat or Republican. Let's address the challenges families are facing.
Part of this immigration enforcement, the president has sued Illinois and Chicago, and I have to say has lost in court on challenging the Trust Act in Illinois, sanctuary cities. Do you believe that Lake County police officials, McHenry County, Cook County, should cooperate in some fashion?
What we want our police departments to do is protect our local communities. I live in Highland Park. Our police department is wonderful. They take care of our community. North Chicago, McHenry, Northbrook, and Cook County. The local police departments know the community, they know our neighbors, they know the needs of the community, and they also know that they need more resources, we need more personnel. It is hard for these local police departments to find people to work in their departments. This is a problem across the country. Last month I had a roundtable with my police chiefs in the district, and we talked about these issues. We should be promoting working in public safety and first responders. It's not just police, it's fire departments, giving back to the community, making a career, serving the community, and celebrating those that do. These are the people who put their lives on the line every day for us.
On a completely different topic, we spoke with your colleague yesterday who was at the survivors of Epstein press conference, who seemed to think there are the votes to release the full Epstein documents. Do you think that'll get called for a vote?
We'll see. There are the votes. We know that I think every Democrat has said that the files should be released. This is about making sure that the victims are heard, that the victims get some justice, and that people who take advantage of young women, young men as well, people who are involved in sex trafficking, are held to account. That if you're rich and famous, you can't buy your way out of it. So we need to understand what happened in 2008 when Epstein was first tried and got a sweetheart deal, what's in those files, and the people who are in those files should be held fully accountable. For the benefit of the victims, we cannot and never should forget the impact that this episode, that Jeffrey Epstein and the people around him had on these young women's lives, that will have an impact the rest of their lives.
All right, Congressman Brad Schneider of the 10th District in Illinois. We should mention we did invite Congressman Darren LaHood, Republican from Peoria. He could not make it tonight. We've also repeatedly reached out to the White House for some representatives to speak to us on these operations. We have not been able to coordinate anything yet, but Congressman, thanks for being here.
Happy to be here. Thanks.